Interestingly, despite the same calorie deficit, those people doing the high intensity cardio had the greatest amount of belly fat loss. HIIT achieved these adaptations in far less time. So that's the main difference between high intensity and traditional endurance. When you do it with high intensity, then you just get the same effects, but in a faster period of time. So those metabolic adaptations happen much faster. How could you combine zone 2 and high intensity? First, let's look at this really, really interesting study. I want you to pay close attention to this study because it's really informative. It was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Randomized controlled trial, 112 women. They were divided into 3 groups with an equal calorie deficit. One group had diet only, calorie deficit. Second had diet with moderate cardio, and the third group had diet with vigorous cardio. But remember, all of them had the same calorie deficit. So even with the cardio and vigorous cardio, they all had the same calorie deficit. Duration was 20 weeks. What happened? Well, if you had the same calorie deficit, you'll get the same amount of weight loss. As expected, they all had similar weight loss. However, this is where the difference shows. In visceral fat, and visceral fat, remember, is that dangerous belly fat around the organs, in the liver, in the pancreas, what causes prediabetes, diabetes, fatty liver, polycystic ovaries, all the inflammatory conditions we talk about. Visceral fat loss was lowest in just a calorie deficit. There was a greater reduction in visceral fat loss with diet and cardio, and the greatest reduction in visceral fat, diet and vigorous cardio. And so, interestingly, despite the same calorie deficit, those people doing the high intensity cardio had the greatest amount of belly fat loss. And why would that be? Well, you can read the article in more detail, but the reason for that is considered to be metabolic adaptations which take place. When you do high intensity cardio, at that point of time, you secrete certain hormones, which are your flight and fright hormones, epinephrine, adrenaline, and these essentially shake up and loosen up the belly fat and visceral fat that's lying there and make it more likely to get burnt off. And so it's almost like you're shaking up the whole system, and that stubborn fat is getting dislodged. That's what happens with the more high intensity exercise.